Today we're gonna make pumpkin seed brittle. I've pulled it for a beautiful thin brittle that just like kind of crunches and then melts in your mouth with this perfect texture. But of course, I'll show you how to do this a couple different ways so that you don't have to pull it if you don't want to. And it's gonna be just as delicious, I promise. It is perfectly caramelized. I'm gonna give you all the tips and tricks for how to get it to be this perfect color every single time. Just the absolute perfect brittle. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to hit the subscribe button below and click the bell icon to be notified every time I post a new and delicious recipe. Let's get into it. So, brittle's pretty simple. It's just all about timing, like lots of pastries, huh? So what we're gonna do here in my pot, first of all, I've got a nice heavy bottomed, decently high side pot. You can do it in a slightly smaller pot, but just know that it is gonna boil up. It's for safety. So that was kosher salt. Okay, so we've got sugar, our salt. We are ready for our water. I'm gonna go ahead and pour this around the outside edges. I like to do this to kind of wet the edges, and this kind of helps control the sugar from splashing up the sides. And then this is corn syrup. So I'm gonna go ahead and just scrape this into the center here. Now, just go ahead and give that just a gentle, delicate stir. What we're trying to do here is kind of distribute the corn syrup and the sugar and the water, without splashing sugar crystals on the side. Those crystals can kind of fall into your cooking caramel and crystallize everything. So you just want to be careful. Of course, we can go back and we can brush it down with more water, but why not start things off from a good spot? So give it a nice stir. It is safe to stir caramel right now. This is a wet caramel, obviously. Same process as if you're making my caramel sauce up there. It's just going to be a little bit different ratio. You can stir as much as you want before it's been heated. You do kind of, especially with this smaller quantity in this large pot, you do want to make sure that you give it a nice stir. But you can see that I have not gotten any crystals on the sides. So we're starting from a good spot. So popping this on the burner, I'm going to put this on kind of medium high. And then we're gonna make caramel. Now, the tricky bit about brittle is that when you add your baking soda, which is what, is going to leaven your brittle and make it not just like hard cracked sugar. So when you add the baking soda, it's going to darken considerably. It's almost like it accelerates the caramelization process. You want to make sure that you take your caramel to kind of like a medium amber. You really don't want to be on the dark amber side. If you've gotten that far, by the time you add your baking soda and everything reacts and you pour it out, it's going to be too done and it's going to be bitter. So you really want to stay in the mediums. If you take it too light, if your caramel is too light, so like a light amber, it's still looking just like a little golden, like, sun-kissed hair or something, too light. Even after you add your baking soda, and you've done all the things and you've poured it out, it's going to be on the lighter side, which isn't catastrophic, except that it gets softer faster, it's going to be sweeter, and it's not going to have that beautiful taste that you want. It is going to affect the texture. So these are just things to know when making brittle. So because brittle is simple in all of its components, it's caramel, baking soda, and then some finishing, like I have butter here, and then pepitas, so pumpkin seeds. So with that in mind, I'm gonna get everything set up for the next stage while this is cooking, because it's doing nothing now. So our sugar is just starting to bubble around the edges here. I'm just gonna give it like a little bit of a gentle shake, and all that's gonna do is kind of distribute those sugar crystals that are on the bottom. Make sure that they are dissolved and incorporating and not going to crystallize our mixture. You can swirl wet caramel, but you do want to do so, sparingly, because it will agitate the sugar crystals and you could crystallize your sugar still. So these are all fun facts. So many things coming at you. So that's happening over there. She's doing her thing. We're over here setting up. So what I have here is a Silpat, so that's a brand, of a nonstick baking sheet. You can use any nonstick baking sheet that you want. You can also do this on parchment. It's not going to be as pretty, but you can certainly do that. We are going to pull the brittle, which is going to make nice, beautiful pieces that are crunchy and almost transparent in places, and it's going to be, rather than just having like a thick chunk of brittle. You do not have to do that, okay? You must use gloves if you're going to pull sugar. It is super duper hot. You can even double glove if you want. These are just, these are nitrile gloves because I'm allergic to latex, but you can use latex gloves. Whatever, you know, you can find, that's what you should use. I want to tell you all of this now because once we start moving, things are going to move kind of rapidly. So you can, of course, also pour out your brittle. You can just leave it like that. Or if you want it thinner and you do not have gloves to pull it, or you don't feel like pulling sugar, it's cool. Then you can put another Silpat or baking sheet on, like non-stick baking mat on top, and you can roll it, okay? This is going to compress it so slightly, so it's not going to be as, you know, light and bright, but it will still be delightful. And then it will also be thinner, but you need to do that while it is hot. You can also use a spatula, and you can spread it out with your spatula instead. All of these things are options. It's all gonna make great brittle. You just have to decide where you're at and what you wanna be doing. We're still boiling. We give her one last little distribution right there. Now, this recipe has a decent amount of water in it, okay? So unlike my caramel sauce, where there's like almost basically just enough water to wet the caramel or the sugar, this has a decent amount. But all of that water has to evaporate before it will caramelize. So it is going to take a little bit longer to caramelize than, say, a caramel sauce or something where you're using less water. You can use less water. It's not, the amount of water is not critical unless you're making meringue, but it is easier to mix and distribute that amount of corn syrup in the mixture with a decent amount of water. So that's the reasoning behind the water and why it's going to take a little bit longer to caramelize. So you can see that it is starting to thicken. It's still boiling, it's still bubbling, but you can see it's kind of making more of a syrup as opposed to just like water in a pot. At this stage, like maybe don't walk away. Maybe like chill in the area, peeping your head in very frequently. So it is starting to just barely caramelize around this edge. So it's going to go faster from now on. So once the water all evaporates, it's going to be a little bit faster. So it's just a very light, I think it's probably still, it's kind of hard for you to see, but it's a very light pale yellow around the edges. So obviously we're not there yet. Just trying to like redistribute it because it's definitely starting to caramelize on this side before this side. So I just want to make sure that, you know, everybody has a chance to be caramelized. You don't want one spot to be, you know, done before the rest of the caramel has time to get there. You can also turn down your heat, which will make it caramelize a little bit slower. At a certain point, it's not gonna matter, but you know, right now, for example, if I turned it down, it would definitely help. So we've got a nice, beautiful kind of, I would call this a light amber, what we have in here right now, going on medium. So we're just gonna give that a little swirl. Sometimes it's easier to see if you tilt your pot because, you know, a deep pot of caramel looks darker than it actually is. So if you can give it a swirl and then you can kind of peek at underneath to see what color it is, then you're gonna be in a better spot. But you see it's starting to kind of smoke in places, so it's definitely done. Without further ado, I'm gonna turn that off. I'm gonna add my butter. I'd like to remove this from my heat, but unfortunately, then you won't be able to see it. So what we've got here is my butter's gone in, and we're just gonna add our baking soda, and that is gonna make it puff even more. You see that beautiful puffiness? Go ahead and add your pepitas, toss them. Do you see how that made it darker even faster? So go ahead and just kind of pour that out. Just try to kind of get it all. We're gonna pull it, so we're gonna put it, you want it to be kind of closer together so that we can pull it as it cools. If you could also have poured that everywhere, and then that would have kind of, you know, distributed it a bit more, which is fine. But if you're gonna pull it, you want it to be in kind of a central location so that it kind of cools around the edges and allows you to have the time to pull it without the whole thing setting on you. Now, obviously, this is very, very hot. So we do need to let it kind of set a little bit, not a ton, we just need it to cool a little bit before we start to pull it. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop my gloves on. So it's starting to set around the edges, you see that? And you know, you can kind of pull pieces of it. This is probably, it's still a little too hot, but you can definitely see how it's setting on the edges. You can kind of pull it while it's still attached, especially as it's cooling at first, because you know, these guys in here are that's still very, very hot. You can also use your spatula to help you at this point, if you would like. So essentially, we're just gonna pull pieces. As it cools in places, we will pull that area. So you kind of pull off pieces like that and just use the mat to spread it. So you're kind of like pressing and spreading at the same time. You know, those edges on the ones on the edge are gonna set before the center. So, you know, they're not gonna be quite as cute, but that's not a big deal because you can just kind of like break them off or just eat them. So hot caramel, or like hot caramel brittle is like, it sticks to your gloves, and it will burn you through the gloves. So you have to kind of play that game of, you know, is it too hot in the center or is it just right? Double loving will help. You can also, of course, not do this at all. So I'm essentially just moving some of the pepitas out so that they'll cool and I can pull them. And then so what I'm doing as I move them over there is they're setting. So once they're set, you can take them off of the silpat and put them elsewhere. The silpat helps not only with the non-stick, but it also keeps them from cooling as fast. So if you just plopped this right on a marble countertop, as it is, the bottom of my brittle has already started to solidify because of the marble. So it's just, you know, a metal surface would be better if one has access to that, or wood. Something that kind of retains heat better than marble. Marble's, you know, that's why you roll pie dough on it. The other cool thing about pulling brittle is that it will get that nice shiny appearance because, you know, when you pull sugar, it gets shiny. So you can also, to break this off, if you get pieces that you like, you can use scissors. Okay. And then you just kind of repeat. At some point, especially if you put it on marble like I did, it will stop pulling and then you just have a whole big chunk of brittle. But you do want to be careful because the top part of that center is very, very hot. If you put it over here too soon, it could stick. Just know that. So you just have to be patient, right? You know, you just kind of have to be persistent and patient and literally ignore the sweat that is dripping down from your brow. One time I served this over top of a pumpkin creme brulee and it was phenomenal. But really, really big pain in the butt. So unless you have somebody working with you, it is almost impossible to get all of it pulled completely before it cools, especially on the edges. So just don't be too hard on yourself. And if you only pull half of it, you only pull half of it. because by the time you get to like some of these pieces where you can kind of, I mean, it's still, this is gonna be really delightful anyways, because it's mostly, there's a lot of pepitas in this brittle. So you could do half pepitas. You could also do, you know, you can add dried fruit to this if you'd like, or even pistachios is really delightful as well. Okay, so we have pulled our brittle. I'm gonna take a moment to pull myself together, and then we're going to taste and discuss. We're back after our short intermission. And I mean, we're basically, I mean, we're done, like, right? So now you've got like these cool, long pieces of like fun brittle, which, you know, was worth every moment and every bead of sweat. So just some things to know about brittle, in general, is that it is hygroscopic. So of course it's going to absorb moisture. So if you're, you know, if your place is very humid, it is going to start to soften. You can put those moisture absorbing packets in whatever container you're storing them in. I would suggest, especially if you've pulled it, to store it between layers of parchment in a closed container with one of those packets if you'd like. But, you know, generally speaking, it's going to hold just fine. It's time to try. All right, so let's see, which piece do we want to try? So you get that perfect crunch. It doesn't stick in your teeth because like of the baking soda. It helps it be lighter and not be like super hard and aggressive. Plus we pulled it thin. So it's just like this thin layer of perfectly cooked caramel and like a little bit of salt that we added. And then you get the crunch of the pepitas. If you wanted to toast them, you could totally do that. It's this nice crunchy garnish. Of course, you know, you could just put this on a cheese plate, or you could go ahead and use this as a garnish for dessert, for a pumpkin cake, or a custard, or even, you know, a cheesecake. Just a really beautiful garnish, just kind of a crunchy component to just add some texture to really any dessert. As long as it goes with pepitas, this is gonna taste delicious with it.